It's time for wheels. It's time to talk wheels. What I have here, can you guess? It's the Powerflex Rock Candy. This is the hard one. This is like equivalent to a 104. And first off, they had the gumball, and I think that was about a 101 hardness. And it had a core as well. Not quite as hard as this core. This is like double duty hard. I like hard wheels. This probably right now is my favorite wheel overall, even though it's a 99A. I really like it. I mostly like it because of this full conical shape. It gives me real confidence locking on the coping, and the fact that it's a 60 millimeter, I love it. So I got this wheel's a 60 millimeter, and I thought for this review, I would also have the Bones SPF Tony Hawk. I really like this wheel. I feel like it's a little narrow. So the reason I wanted to include this wheel in my review, and this is my initial review, I'm going to take this wheel out in the morning and skate it. And I get the feeling I'm going to love it. But you know what? We'll see. We'll reserve judgment till then. I also have the Bones Swiss Ceramics. I don't think I need to tell anybody how rad these are. I've used them before. They're my favorite, but I'm going to use them again. And I've been actually skating more than the ceramics from Bones. I've been skating just the regular Swiss 6 and 7. And I think that's a great choice for the price. This is maybe a little rich for my blood, but I like them. It's a sick bearing. If you got the money, you can drop it on this bearing, do it, because you won't regret. I have the regular Bone Swiss 6s in here, and they're awesome, so I got no beef. What I wanted to show you was contact patch. A lot of guys my age, we don't want to slide out. And the concern that even I may have, even though I don't really get too concerned with wheels, is too narrow of a contact patch, and I feel like the slide out possibility is there. Like in certain tricks, if I'm going to be trying to get back into my rock and roll, I'm really going to want to choose a wheel that has a wider contact patch. Let me show you another wheel and add to that. It's the Rain Skate Avalanche. It's the big dog. It's 65 millimeters. I love everything about this wheel. I love riding it. It carves great. In normal riding situations, I don't feel it's loose at all. But when I do rock and rolls, I get a lot of chirp out of it. As I'm coming back down, I'm turning around. I got a lot of that happening on this wheel. It feels a little dry, almost kind of chalky. And I don't know if that resonates with anybody, and you can kind of understand what I mean when I say that. But I just feel like for as wide of a contact patch as it has, that it breaks away fairly easy. This is a 101. Let me check the contact patch here against this wheel. So it's about 4 or 5 millimeters less of a contact patch on this. So this wheel's super wide. That's why I thought this is going to be my best wheel to use to really get into rock and roll. It's going to be really grippy, and it hasn't proven true in this case. But I love everything else about this wheel. I think because of the 65 millimeter, even though it's slightly more of a rounded cut, I still get plenty of lock on that to trust going into a front side grind. I'm not rolling out very easy. This is another wheel by Bones, and you see that rounded cut there? Also 104. I dig the heck out of this wheel. This is an SPF. But that rounded cut, it definitely doesn't lock me on the coping the way I want. So I think as I get more and more confident, and I think I'm almost there on my front side grinds, that I don't need to have a square wheel, and I think I can end up going to something like this, and I might actually prefer it better. And I feel like I'm almost at that stage. So We'll see. But right now, we're talking about Powerflex Rock Candy. The tread on this wheel too, it's super nice. Like it just gives me the feeling that it's going to maintain really incredible traction. So like I'm pretty psyched. It's a nice looking wheel too. All right, so let's compare it to the conical full Spitfire 60 millimeter signature Mark Gonzalez wheel. So this is the standard. This is the standard Spitfire full conical wheel. I think in a smaller millimeters, like 54 and less, they might make it a little more narrow. But this is like, what, 56? I got some 56s, some 58s. They're all the same width. But I want to compare the contact patch because that's the thing I think about. I also like wheel width. Like in the case of this board, this is a 9-inch board, 149 Thunder, so it's an 8.5-inch truck. And I like a wider wheel on it because I feel like I can see my edges better when I'm coming up on coping, and it gives me a lot more confidence if I can see it. So I've always been reluctant about using this Tony Hawk wheel, which I really like, with a 149. So on here I have a 151 Thunder, and I've ridden this wheel on here because it's a little bit longer, and it feels fine. However, I wish I had a little more. This board measures a little wider at the rear wheels, and this one's a little more narrow. That's why I have the smaller trucks on this one, the 149s. But let's look at the contact patch. If I hold it up here, if I line that contact patch up there, you can see, man, it's only about 2, maybe flat 2 millimeters, pushing 3 possibly. Not much. Look on this wheel. Yeah, maybe a millimeter or 2. Not much. Let's compare it to the bones. Look at that. Compared to the bones, we're getting a solid 5-6 millimeters or more on that. And I'll tell you what, for loving this wheel, I think this rock candy is going to be for me. Side cut too is about the same. So there's the grooves. This is how I grind kingpins. It's not much of a groove there, but man, it certainly is enough that you can lock that coping in right above the kingpins, and it's super nice. I got that on this Thunders too. I'm still grinding all over these trucks, but it's nice to be able to pinpoint it with my wheels up. I like it. So I'm trying to decide what setup I'm going to put these on. And I really have 3 issues. This board here, this is a 9.25. This is was a Jeff Grosso model in-game. And I really love the shape of this shovel. It's kind of straight. It's got some straight edges. It feels super fast. I love it. It's a 9.25. And then this one here is a birdhouse. And this puppy's got 15.5-inch wheelbase. This one has a 15-inch wheelbase and a very similar shape. It's a little more square up here. I really like it. The thing that I like about this is the back end tapers down more narrow, and I can ride a 149 truck and still get the wheels, still get a really flat profile on the wheels, which that's important to me. I like to ride a smaller truck if I can, but the wheels got to get out there where I can see them. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is, because with my new challenge to y'all out there, I've been wanting to get into doing some slappies as well. And I don't really want to mess up these trucks because I really dig the way Aces ride. I really dig the way Thunders ride too. And I probably, in the bull, I probably actually prefer my Gullwings. The way they carve, is just money. I don't know. These are all good trucks, all three. Like, I could do with any of them. But the Gullwing does have a bigger groove. Let me show you. So I had a friend I was skating with on an OG night a couple nights ago, and he'd never even seen Gullwings. So this is basically the way they're sold, stock. That's the way they're sold. I have grinded them down some. Obviously, right here on this side, I'm starting to wear this side down a little lower. And I think that's probably for me hitting, man, maybe it's hitting the front side. I don't know. Looks like I'm wearing the back down about even, but the front definitely favoring this one edge. And I mean, I can grind them in, I can lock them in over here as well. And it's like, the first time I tried Aces, brand new, because they have that curve in it, and Ace advertises, I think, that their trucks are bent like that. They're not actually bent, that the hanger carries a little more metal across the center because they want to make it easier for you to get to one side of the wheel. But that's not what I felt like when I rode Aces. When I rode Aces, I got a video actually I posted where I'm riding, and I think it said something in the title about riding on thin ace. Obviously I'm making a joke compared to thin ice because I was like literally in grinds, back trucks going from wheel to wheel, front trucks going from wheel to wheel, and it was just the lamest feeling ever. So I'm curious, if I rode the trucks very loose, which I don't typically ride very loose, if your trucks can angle like that, if you can get a solid lock in, but at the tightness I was riding, it was the sketchiest feeling ever. That's what made me get the Gullwings, and that's what made me eventually take some of that center meat down on my Aces. And now it's like, with a grind like this, you can lock here, you can lock here, and you can lock here. So it's like, it's not so sketchy if you're learning to grind, because it's like stopping point, and a stopping point in the middle. So it's like, even after you're grinding on one wheel, and then your weight's a little off balance or something, and then you go back and you hit the center notch, and you're grinding there, and then you can grind the other. It's not like you're just losing it and sliding 8.5 inches to the other wheel. So, I don't know. That's something I really prefer. But anyway, I wanted to show you that truck. For carving bowls, honestly, I think this is my favorite. And I did the video where I took off almost a 1/4 inch of the bottom bushing. You can see, I don't know if you can see that, how close that bottom bushing, how the hanger is to the base plate. It's like, the hanger's like right there to the base plate. I got another light here, let me see if that helps. There's not much space there. I mean, that's not a 1/4 inch. That's less, I don't know, but not much at all. So, anyway, even removing that much bottom bushing, these trucks still probably carve the best out of any of them. But it's close. It really is close. Between the Aces and the Thunder, I really don't think there's much difference. I will say that I do like the way the Thunder is much lighter than the Ace. But I'm not really concerned about that anymore either. I was, for a while. I wanted only hollows. I wanted only titaniums. I felt like weight was an issue. Until I got the Gullwings. Because of that groove, I was forced to ride a heavier truck. And honestly, the weight almost feels like it helps some. I mean, this board is so light, I feel like I sometimes have a little less control of it. And maybe that's because of my size. You know, I'm 210 when I'm out there skating. I'm trying to decide. I'm contemplating going back to a 925 deck, just because when I get on it, it's like a Cadillac. It's cruising, and I could never go as big as a 10 or something like that. I know other guys rip on them. For me, it just feels too big. But the 9.25, this shape, I love this deck. I usually like all the Grosso designs too. anyhow, I think, let's see, so my Gullwings are set up, like I said before, these have been my favorite wheels. They're the wheels I trust the most. If I'm going to do rock and rolls on a skate light ramp or something, I'm going to use these 99s. I don't trust Spitfire when they're new until they're properly broke in, but on something like skate light, it's a little slick. But man, when they're broke in, I love them. They feel solid. I think the SPF versus this rock candy. I mean, if I've got 5, 6, or more millimeters of extra contact patch, that's something that's going to be the ticket for me. So I'm trying to decide which setup to put these on. And I think, honestly, I'm going to put them right here on these Thunders. I'm eventually, and this is what I was saying before, I think I'm going to end up ordering another 925 because I'm going to put some of my classic Indies on this truck. Just the old school Indies and a 169. And this is going to be my slappy truck. This is going to be my slappy deck. I mean, I'm going to grind the F out of those trucks on concrete curbs. So I'm going to be all about it. I do have a popsicle with some titanium Indies, and that's what I use for my street board. That's an 8.5, and I've never pulled a kickflip on that yet. I'm going to try. It's got a nice big fat nose, so I'm going to try to do nose slides and tail slides on that board. And I was doing some curbs on it the other day, trying to practice some curbs on it the other day, and I just felt like I was going to mess up my Indies really bad. And I don't want to do that. I'd rather hit some standard Indies on this deck on that thing, and then I'm probably going to end up outfitting this board with the Black Rain skate wheel in the 63 millimeter, and that's a 101. It's a cord wheel, and honestly, I totally love that Black Rain skate urethane. It's fast, it's hard, it feels sticky like this wheel, and I'm going to end up putting that on probably another new 9.25. I just started looking at some today. So anyway, back to this wheel review. The Rock Candy 104A equivalent. Hard, real hardcore, hard urethane, but really feels grippy. And the Bone Swiss ceramics. Unmatched. Promised it. Rock Candy by Powerflex. Let's get into this. I haven't ridden them yet. I decided to film the first ride. Not the warm-up ride, the first ride. Let's do this. Here's my filmer, Killian. He's going to help me get this done today. Are you down? Let's do it. Give me a thumbs up. Boom. Hit the like button, guys. It's not the most ideal situation in this bowl. We had a lot of rain, so we got some slime, we got some water, we got some seepage through the cracks. But doesn't matter, because you know what? I'm lucky all the time, lucky. Okay, let's get this. So I haven't taken one dip in this bowl, and I haven't even rode these wheels on flat ground. That might not be too smart, but let's just see from the very start what I think. First off, I'm just going to try to do a 50-50 stall, and then maybe a grind, and then maybe I'll just drop into the whole thing. Nice! Okay, first impression, these puppies are rock. Man, when these hit the coping, it sounds hard, it sounds loud. It's a little weird, but I kind of like it. I'm a little weird. You guys know that. I want to get familiar with how they feel sliding, just to see. Okay, it feels good. Honestly, it feels good. I think I might like it better than the Bones SPF, based on that tiny little bit of information, which amounts to nothing. All right, let me try one really good grind. Not really good grind, it's a non-warmed up grind, but who knows? I might just do it really good. Okay, so let's see. nice. Let's do a run. Rock candy from Powerflex. If you're an older dude, you know about these wheels. I never rode them. This was maybe cooler than the stuff I used to ride. You know what? Let's not take it from the top, because I didn't mention I'm riding bone Swiss ceramics. I might want to take this one a little less juicy than the next. So let's warm into it. Fast wheels, fast bearings. Let's see. Ooh, boy. More speed than I'm used to. And I forgot, this time of the day, pop out right into the sun in your eyes. So I'm not going to be trying my frontside grind on the rock candy yet, but rest assured, you'll see it. And they're really fast. This is going to sound like I'm making it up for the review, but these wheels are so fast, I almost feel in certain areas like I can't control the speed. Like my control's down because the speed is increased. They're super hard. It feels like I'm on ice skates. Killian, I'm going to try to put reins on this beast this time. Instead of let it be the beast, I'll be the beast. Ooh. Little of this action. Ready? They're fast, yo. Alright, we're good, dog. Powerflex, rock candies. Get them at your local retailer now.